Hey, what's up and hello. This is the Chris Nicole bringing you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on what time you are watching this live. Hello, crew. Hope all is well. Make sure you hit the like button on the way in. Hit the like and hit the hype. And this is my review on the finale of the Braxtons, and I am hoping it is the last season. They did episode 7 and 8 tonight. Okay, I was a little confused when I was watching it on the tube, and I said, wait a minute, did I miss an episode? But no, they did both episodes tonight, episode 7 and episode 8, honey. Let me tell you something. I refuse to watch this again if they try to bring back another season. I see no purpose of bringing back another season. I am done. Okay. And as far as I see it, yes, I still feel like they like to blame Tamar for everything. But honey, when I tell you all of them are draining and working my last nerves, draining as hell. All right. So let's get started with episode 7. So we see Tamar in the studio. She wants her Grammy winning album. I don't know if this album that's just dropped is Grammy worthy, but at the same time, if you guys have been watching me for a very long time, I don't trust the Grammys anymore. To me, the last time the Grammys was worth something was maybe in mid 90s, early 2000s, maybe early 2000s. So I don't even know why you want a Grammy at this point, Tamar. Just keep focusing on getting those platinum albums. But yeah, she wants the Grammy. So y'all let me know if it's Grammy worthy. Meanwhile, at the Wicked Witch rehearsal, they showed flashbacks of Sean and Sean actually proposing to her. And Sean did lose a lot of weight. I was like, who the heck is that? And I was like, wait, that's Sean? I said, okay, maybe he was on that Ozempic special or something because he lost a lot of weight. He does look way better now than he did back then. But at the same time, I still don't know what the hell he does for a living. He's kind of like Tommy O. Martin. What do you do, sir? What do you do? That whole helicopter master pilot. What do you do for a living, sir? Because we know Towanda don't have no job. So what do you do for a living? Meanwhile, child, let me tell y'all something. Mama E, Miss Evelyn, she just gonna be bitter until the bitter end. Because meanwhile, during the rehearsal, Towanda and Trina talk about how close they are. They're only 15 months apart. And Mama Evelyn wanted to get up there and say the reason why they only 15 months apart is because the daddy was greedy. They daddy was greedy. So don't just be looking at me. And I'm like, okay, what was the point of that? I don't see the point. And baby, if you looked at the way she looked, she still looked like she was having flashbacks herself of remembering when he cheated on her. And I'm like, Miss Ma'am, if you supposed to be a Christian, I'm gonna need for you to relax, relate, release, because I don't even know why that was even appropriate to say at that time. But I mean, are any of you guys really appropriate? But yeah, so with that being said, the wedding day, honey. See, Miss Towanda, her true colors did come out. That Bridezilla Wicked Witch Earthworm really showed herself by flipping out because someone was in her parking spot, baby. And literally, she was like, I don't give a damn who it is. I effing said that yesterday. She went crazy. She went emotional. See, she tries to act calm in front of the cameras and in front of the public because she wants the public perception to make it seem like she's always calm and reserved. See, what we saw at that moment about that parking spot, yeah, that's the real Towanda, okay? The real Towanda came out. She wants perfection for her wedding that she didn't pay for, honey. Production paid for all of that, but she said she wants to be as perfect as possible. So we see her getting ready. And I must say, this mask on her face is the best I've never seen Towanda. Yes, the best. I said, this is perfect for you. You should have had a mask on while you was walking down the aisle. But with that, she says that her son cannot come to the wedding. Her son can't come to the wedding because he's about to be shipped out. He is in the Navy. He always wanted to be a Navy SEAL. And then the next thing you know, we hear and I was like, Sounds like a wounded animal. What's going on? And then I'm like, okay, what the hell? Towanda looked like her ass is in labor. And I said, what is going on here? And I was like, okay, maybe it finally hit her that her son is not going to be there. And she's like super emotional over that or whatever the case may be. And the girls are sitting up there like they in Lamar's class with her. Just breathe. Just breathe. And I'm like, what is going on? Can somebody please tell me what the heck is going on? Because I was like, what is this? I was hoping they was trying to exorcise the demons and cast them out or something. But lo and behold, honey, she's crying because she misses Tracy and she wishes that Tracy was there. And so Trina starts crying and I'm like, okay, well, y'all know Tracy was my girl. She was my favorite Braxton. I get it, but it is Towanda. And I'm like, do I feel bad for you? No, because you're evil. But whatever. So she had a moment missing Tracy and she just wished that Tracy was there. And she said that wedding is also for Tracy. That wedding ain't for Tracy. That wedding is for you. Like, let's stop playing these games, okay? So with that, they end up getting her ready. And let's be clear. One thing I will say is that Towanda looked great in her dress. Her final dress, she looked great. You would not think that she is 50 years old. But I guess when you have potions and voodoo vodka and juju juice, you will look like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, wicked people don't really age that well. I don't know if it's the blood that they suck up and energy they suck up out of everybody. I don't know. But I will say that she definitely did look great in her dress. Meanwhile, Tamar is talking to, I'm assuming, her psychic, honey, because she sat up there and said something about a reading. Y'all let me know if y'all heard that, if this is supposed to be her psychic. But Tamar said that Tony and Trina agrees to go to the sisters retreat, but Towanda is not coming. Surprise, surprise, surprise. But she said her main thing is, her biggest issue is with Towanda. So she's concerned because, like at the end of the day, if that's her main issue is Towanda and her not coming, it kind of defeats the purpose, I guess is what she's trying to say. And I'm like, girl, can you please let it go and leave Towanda alone at this point? But at that point, she says she thinks that Trina thinks it's a bunch of hocus pocus. And then this lady says, well, based on my reading, the perspective is that Trina just wants resolve and Tony just wants, closure and for you guys to be closer. And I was like, a reading? I said, Tamar, okay. I guess I thought she was some type of, like therapist or something, especially when she was on set during her podcast. But is she a psychic? Y'all let me know if y'all know who this lady is. But anyways, she asked Tamar if she's willing to say sorry. And Tamar's like, I'm always the first person to say sorry. And to be quite honest, she is. She's always the first person and sometimes the only person that says sorry. And she was like, I'm always the first person. She said, I say that because I genuinely am sorry. I don't intend to hurt anyone. And then she was like, and at the same time, I just want resolve. Like, I'm willing to put my pride down for resolve. And so production asks her, well, Tamar, is there anything that you feel like you need to apologize for at the dinner? And she takes a pause. And she says that she apologizes for being so emotional instead of having a civilized conversation with her sister. So she says she apologizes for that. She said, even though what they did was effed up, I apologize. Hey, Kashari girl, make sure y'all hit the like button. I see 8 people in here. Please hit the like button. So she says she apologizes for that. Meanwhile, after wedding, Trina has to leave early. She has to leave early because Vaughn is not feeling well. Okay, so the rest of this episode, Tony is trying to figure out the right time to tell Towanda that Trina is not there and had to leave. And Towanda keep asking, where is Trina? Trina, where is Trina at? Where is Trina? And I'm like, girl, it's your wedding. You've been announcing this the whole entire time. I would say just focus on you and your man. And so Tony's like, I'm a little concerned because Towanda can sniff out a lie. And I'm like, yes, she can sniff out lies because she's a liar and she knows how to lie. She knows lies and she knows liars. So yes, liars can sniff out lies easily. But at that point, she finally says to, Tony, like, okay, where's Trina at? Where's Trina at? So at that point, Tony tells her she had to leave because Vaughn was sick. She had to go. And so Towanda sits up there and says, you know what? I understand because, if it was my husband, I would leave too. That is very mature of you to say that, Towanda. Now, only if I actually believed you, because you're such a narcissist and everything's about yourself. I don't know. I feel like you went home and cried to your man and said, they're never there for me. Why couldn't Vaughn, like, literally just have a moment after my wedding? I don't know. That's just something that I feel like she would say. But anywho, so with that being said, child, we see Vaughn and we see Trina, and they go to the doctor. And Vaughn, of course, is not taking his health seriously at all whatsoever. Surprise, surprise, surprise. This fool was too busy trying to get fried catfish on his way to the hospital. This is how he's definitely not caring about his health. Apparently, he could have had a stroke or a heart attack or whatever the case may be. But let's be clear, Trina, I'm concerned about you too. I mean, your whole face is drooping at this point. I don't know if you still have the same drinking problems that you had in previous seasons, but apparently Vaughn not only has congestive heart failure, he is on the verge of possibly having some kidney issues or kidney failures too. Trina, I'm gonna need for you to check your liver and your kidneys as well, because we not gonna pretend like Towanda said a long time ago that you was a fish and we saw you pissy drunk the next morning when y'all was in freaking Russia, if I'm not mistaken. So you done probably did enough drinking, honey, where you need to check all of that your dang on self. But the doctor tells Vaughn, if your heart ain't working, your peen ain't gonna work. It's a muscle. It's all muscle. So if that ain't working, the peen ain't gonna work. And he still doesn't seem to care, but I don't know. Something tells me they ain't getting busy like that anyways. I don't know. I just get a vibe from them that their love language is cooking and being bossy towards each other. They ain't getting no freaky tales in. But I don't know. But with that being said, we're in Malibu, honey, at the production house, the house that production paid for. And Tony gets there, Trina's there, Tamar's there. Tony admits in the confessional, not to Tamar, not to Trina, but Tony admits in the confessional that she lost her cool, but didn't hear her apologize to Tamar's face, okay? Tamar asks how the wedding was, and Tamar's like, well, we have a special guest. We got a special guest. And she said, look, everybody, Towanda is here. Baby, she bring this blow-up doll with somebody else's face, because that dang sure ain't Tawanda's face, with cheese crackers, child, all stuffed up in her mouth, this moo dress on with this sweater. I said, Tamar, what the hell? She sits the freaking blow-up doll down next to Trina. She ends up creating a plate, utensils, all of that stuff. Talking about some Towanda, thank you for coming. Next thing you know, we have Tony eating a biscuit with a knife and a fork because she says she don't want to get her nails dirty. Girl, it's a biscuit. It ain't even got no honey on it. How you gonna get your nails dirty over a freaking biscuit? And Tamar said the most perfect line that I heard when she says, girl, you married the Birdman. Like, and I'm like, exactly. Like, you married a man who looks like he smells like shit. His breath smells like shit. His head smells like shit. His earlobe smell like shit and onions. Like, I don't understand how you claim to be so bougie and you marry a man like Birdman. Like, it don't match. And so literally Trina's like, are we talking about that? She's like, no, we're not talking about that. It's a secret. And Tamar like, is it a secret? You not telling nobody? Like, is it a secret? She's like, I'm not going to talk about my personal business. But she couldn't even keep a straight face. She started like glowing and giggling at that point. It was like, we all know it's true. Hell, by this point, we all know that it's true that you married to the dang on Birdman. So then I must say this. This is when Tamar does a little too, them dang on that hair. Oh my gosh, the hair, like Tamar, like your hairline, like is, oh my gosh, like I had to give y'all this picture because this is bad. Like, I really need for our girl to really do something with that. And I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on here, but these baby hairs and your hairline not starting until like 5 inches back. I don't know what's going on. It's giving receding hairline. I don't know. It could be stress. I don't know. But with that being said, this is where Tamar does too much. Tamar tries to explain Trina's situation. Talking about Trina has high anxiety and this and this and that and that. Trina can speak for herself. And I don't feel anything wrong in the situation when Trina was like, well, I don't agree with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you telling me I have anxiety. And Tamar is like, well, I'm just repeating what you said. And Trina's like, I understand that. I see what you're trying to do. Tamar takes it to her water Pisces emotional level and ends up getting offended by it. And Trina was pretty much trying to say, number one, I don't want to talk about this on camera, which is telling me that there's something else that we are not aware of about her personal life that she don't want us to know about. And I'm trying to figure out what it could be, because baby, your niece claiming that your ex did what he did and you not doing anything about it should be enough. But it's making me wonder what else is going on in her life, allegedly. But yeah, so she sits up there and she's like, look, I got a lot of stuff going on and I don't want to talk about it on camera. And Tamara's like, I didn't put anything on camera. I didn't put anything on camera. You told me that you have to take blood pressure medicine because you got a lot of stress, you got anxiety, whatever the case may be. And it just ends up going downhill because Tamar is in her feelings about the situation. And I didn't see anything wrong with Trina pretty much saying, let me speak for myself. And she said it in a nice way. But then Tony's like, Tamar, she didn't say it like that. Just say okay. Just say okay. And Tamar's like, that's not the way I handle it. And that's true. That isn't the way she handled it. And Tony is the type of person where she wants you to act the way she wants you to act so she can feel comfortable. Let me explain something. Tamar is Tamar. Let Tony tell it. Tamar has been Tamar since she came out of the womb. If you can't handle Tamar's personality, that's fine. There are people who I can't handle their personalities. I choose to step away, but I'm not trying to change them. That is the wrong thing to try to tell someone to do, is that they're wrong for being who they are. They are who they are. And the people who love them are going to love them regardless. And there are people who are going to rock with her and people who are not going to rock with her. But Tony, for whatever reason, consistently wants to try to change how Tamar is. It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen at all whatsoever. You glad that I watched it so you don't have to. That's why I'm here, girl. That's what I'm here. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, so I don't like the fact that she's always trying to nitpick at how Tamar responds to things. Yes, Tamar is emotional, but Tamar clearly has been that way since forever. It seems to me now you guys have an issue with it because it is now on public display and she is getting rewarded for being who she is. Because let's be clear, because of who she is, she became the star of this show. And I think that they were expecting that a lot of people were going to be anti-Tamar because of how she acts, when a lot of people ended up being for Tamar because of how she acted and how she acts. And they weren't prepared for that, which is why they do everything they can to always just blame everything on Tamar because she's emotional and she lashes out. But again, with the untrained eye, just because someone lashes out and emotional doesn't mean that they are wrong and they are guilty. Again, we see Towanda for her works. She's very reserved, but that is a sneaking, conniving earthworm heifer over there. So again, I understand why some people be like, Tamar does too much. I get it. But at the same time, that is Tamar. That's who she is. And she's not going to change at this point. She almost 50 years old. She is who she is. So it is what it is. But it wasn't your business and your place to talk about Trina and act like you need to speak for Trina. Because if Trina did that to you, you wouldn't like it. Now, would you, Tamar? Exactly. So with that being said, child, they end up doing a sound bath. And Tamar bring that dang on blow up doll to the sound bath. Now, Trina claims she is very religious. She is a Christian. Trina, when did you become Christian? After your niece accusations? When did you become Christian? Has she been mentioning Christianity all this time? I'm just wondering, just wondering, when did you become Christian? So she said she been doing her research on sound baths, honey, and she ain't with it. She don't know what kind of stuff they trying to do, whatever, with these sound baths. And here come Tamar again. Tracy, well, she started off with Tracy saying Tracy, but her last wish was for us to be sisters and be together. And then she had to make an announcement. My sister Trina, she's very religious. And Trina's like, I can speak for myself, thank you. And she was like, my religion doesn't have any room for ambiguity. And Tamar's like, ambu what? Ambu who? Ambu what? What you say? And it was hilarious. But she was like, Ambu, what? And what is Ambu? What you say? And so at that point, child, they start to sound bath. And I honestly think production was trying to hypnotize us also, honey. Because I was like, how much longer do we have to hear these sound baths? I would have just left, because Trina was just sitting there like, I ain't with this. And I'm like, child, I will go on the beach and sleep on the beach. Those are God's natural sounds. You was right there in Malibu, honey. Go to the beach and go sleep on the beach. Trust me, anytime I go to the beach, that's all I do. Because the wonderful God sounds, them waves, they'll do it for me. But with that being said, Trina didn't do it because she was like, child, I don't know why she doing them freaking congos and all of that stuff. I don't know what she was praying to, whatever case it be. So she was like, I ain't down for that. So at that point, child, they laugh it off or whatever. And then we get to somewhat of another meltdown at this dinner, honey, or whatever. They said, I don't even know if they had dinner. They just sitting there talking. And so we find out that Trina lives in South Carolina. She don't even live in Atlanta. That's interesting. How did she meet Vaughn? Was there like another season where we know how they met each other? Make sure you guys hit the likety like button on the way in for your girl. Please hit the likety like button. How did they meet? But they live in South Carolina. So we find out that almost every Sunday, Trina used to come from South Carolina to Atlanta to kick it with Tamar or whatever the case may be. And how, they used to have fun every Sunday, drink beers and all of that type of stuff. And let Tamar tell it, once Denise came on her podcast, things change. Trina says, no, what changed was you sent a text to all of us saying you didn't want nothing to do with us. And Tamar's like, well, did you not understand that after y'all sent me that cease and desist, like that's the reason why I said that? And so Trina's like, I didn't send it. And I keep telling you, I didn't send it. And so at that point, she was like, but that's your personal lawyer, Trina. And she was like, but I still didn't send it. And she looks at Tony. She was like, Tony, that's your best friend. You talk to him every single day. So then Tamar was like, yes, I did lash out for y'all not coming to my defense. Tony claims she doesn't understand it, and she doesn't understand where all of this coming from and why they getting the blame. But here's the problem. We find out, and I think they blurred out the name, but in my personal opinion, she said Mikey, aka their brother. Tamar is like, did you give Mikey beep? The name is bleeped out. Did you give him the lawyer's information? And Trina said, yeah, I did. I didn't see why I wouldn't. And I'm thinking like, well, I don't care if brother, sister, whomever, if that's your personal lawyer and someone says, hey, can you give me your lawyer's information? One of the first things I'm going to ask is, for what? Why do you need my lawyer's information? So you mean to tell me, Trina, you didn't ask him at all what it's for at all, and you just said, oh, sure, here it is, with no hesitation? Then we find out Tony gave him, Mikey, allegedly, her address, Tamar's address. Now, interesting enough, that wasn't mentioned at that table, the infamous table of trifling. Tony didn't mention that. At least we didn't see it in the editing part of it. But Tony says, well, I had no idea you were being served. So in other words, yes, you gave it to him, but you didn't know that she was being served. But does she apologize? Because Let me give somebody, even a sibling, a relative, somebody other, like another relative's personal information, like an address, and I find out it's because they're getting served. I would immediately apologize and say, I feel like I got, you know what I'm saying, like literally bamboozled here. I gave your address thinking it was something else, and it was literally you getting served. I apologize for that because I was not aware of that. But does Tony apologize? No, she doesn't. But Tamar apologizes. Tamar apologizes to Tony, and Tony's on her high horse saying, yeah, well, I appreciate the fact that she apologized. Like, I think as sisters, we all need to apologize to each other. Well, then when are you going to start apologizing? When are you going to start apologizing? Because Tony can do no wrong at all whatsoever. So then at that point, Trina says, well, when are you going to take accountability for putting hands on your sister? And Tamar said, well, you put your hands on me. And Trina's like, I didn't put my hands on you. And she said, roll that beautiful being footage. The laptop comes out. And Tamar is looking at it and ignoring Trina because Trina's like, Tamar, have you seen this footage? Have you seen this footage already? And Tamar just staring at the laptop. And she was like, Tamar, have you seen this footage? Okay, you going to ignore me? And then she asked production, has Tamar already seen this footage? And I'm like, why does it matter if she's seen the footage or not? Do you think that she had them edited out or something? Like, why does it matter? And so Tamar, of course, Tamar is like rolling her eyes and she was like, you're a liar. And Trina's like, no, you're a liar, baby. And she starts speaking Spanish. She's like, yo quiero Taco Bell, yo punta, 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 punta. And Tamar's like, back at you. And Trina's like, you don't even know what I'm saying. And Tamar's like, why do you think you're better than me? Why do you hate me so much on camera? And Tamar was like, you called me a bitch. And Trina was like, I did not call you a bitch. She didn't call her a bitch. I'm saying punta because I know all of the curse words in Spanish. But yeah, I'm saying punta, but she did not call her a bitch. And I started laughing because I said, Tamar, baby, she did not call you the B word at all whatsoever. And so at that point, it's just, she's like, what is your problem with me? You are 50 years old. Tell me what your problem is with me. So then at that point, we see the footage. Of course, we see that Trina's trying to break it up. Did Trina touch Tamar? Yes. Was it malicious? No. But as I say, as someone with experience, when you are ready to go and you see red, you don't want nobody touching you. There's definitely been a time in my life where I wanted to fight everyone around me because, baby, when it's go time, it's go time. Don't touch me. Don't do nothing. All right. But at the end of the day, no, it was not malicious. But at the same time, Trina starts kissing Tony's butt and tries to say, well, Tamar, you got in Tony's face. Tony got in Tamar's face. Tony shook that table, got up, and literally got in Tamar's face. So while you are always saying that Tamar's view of things can be skewed, so can yours, my dear. This is why I say all of them are draining as well, and all of them lack accountability in some way. Because I'm like, how are you going to say she all up in Tony's face when Tony Little Behind is the one who got up in Tamar's face, and then Tamar decided to get up and say, what you gonna do? So then at that point, Tamar is like, look, you shouldn't have got in between me and freaking Tony, because at the end of the day, you shouldn't have got between sisters. We have never gotten to a physical fight before. And Trina was like, because we're sisters and we don't do that, because honestly, I didn't retaliate against you for putting your hands on me and kicking me because we're sisters. And I said, girl, what kind of all the trifling stuff y'all been accusing each other of, sleeping with each other's man and stuff like that? What family you come from? Because let me tell you something. You put your hands on me, sisters, cousins, don't play with me, because I will come for you and I don't fight fair. I will bite you. I will kick you. I will shave off your eyebrows. I don't play them games. So I don't know where you come from when you say sisters don't fight and cousins don't fight, because over here we do. We do. Yes, we do. So, you may love them at the end, but whatever. But you put your hands on me, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. It's on. So I don't know what she was talking about, but literally at that point, Tamar says, I put my hands on you and I regret it because there was no excuse for me putting my hands on you, even though you put your hands on me. And Trina, like, I refuse to take that because I didn't put my hands on you. And Tamar's like, okay, whatever, girl. So at that point, Trina is like, you shouldn't have gotten in Tony's face. She said again, you shouldn't have gotten in Tony's face. And Tamar says she got in my face. Tony says we got into each other's faces. Yeah, after you got up, mini me, little one, after you got up. And then Trina says, well, you shouldn't have gotten her face. And Tamar says, see, this is what I'm talking about. It's that protect Tony at all costs. You ain't never on my side, which proves they would rather all blame Tamar because Tamar is emotional. And so the emotional part of it and her being over the top, they just rather put it on her versus actually seeing the truth. At the end of the freaking day, Tony is the one who got up first. Tony's the one who got up first. And then Tony decided to double down because Tamar said she got up first and I got up second. And Tony was like, I can get up if I want to. And I'm like, really? You can get up if you want to. You can get up in somebody's face if you want to, but Tamar can't do it. If Tamar would have been the first one who stood up and got up in your face, she would have been the devil himself. Straight up. But you could get up when you want to because you're the superstar. You're Toni Braxton. You're so classy. No, like Tamar said, she got up and was acting gang, gang, gang. So I got up and was acting gang, gang, gang. And at that point, I saw red. And even though she was trying to separate us, I thought she was getting a lick in. And I'm sticking to that. How many of y'all, when y'all that mad and about to get into a fight, would think that someone trying to pull you away from each other is a lick? Let's be honest here. When you that mad, even someone trying to hold you back, you don't want nobody touching you at that point, right? Right? I ain't saying that Tamar's right in the situation. I'm just saying when you mad, you see red, you don't want nobody touching you at all whatsoever. So with that being said, Trina is sitting up there saying, I ain't taking nothing back because Tamar's like, take it back. She's like, I ain't taking nothing back. She was like, what about you putting your hands on me? Do you take that back? And Tamar said, I take it back. I take it back. And then Trina didn't know how to respond to that. Trina didn't know how to respond to Tamar taking accountability yet again. And Trina was like, well, then I take it back too. And I was like, child, I tell you, like, oh my gosh. Like, I tell you, they all draining and crazy as hell. They all draining and crazy as hell. So then at that point, child, Tamar says, well, where do we go from here? And I'm like, child, nowhere. Like, where do y'all go from here? Canceling this show and moving on with your life and living your life and rocking with Tony, I guess. And the rest of them can go somewhere else because last time I checked, based on the last episode to now, y'all heard about Trina apparently giving kudos on a public platform to K Michelle and her country music. And you know, K Michelle and Tamar don't get along. I don't know how y'all feel about that, but again, sisters are supposed to be a united front. But at the same time, some people feel like as much as Tamar done got into it with people, if Trina literally stopped talking to everybody Tamar got into it with, she wouldn't have any industry people she could go to. I don't know how y'all feel about that. Y'all let me know how y'all feel about Trina making this public, you know what I'm saying, kudos to K Michelle, even though K Michelle and Tamar are known to have serious beef. But with that being said, then we see that after that, they're like, look, we're always going to be sisters. We're always, you know, I miss the bond. We're always going to be sisters, blase, blase, blah. So then the next time we see them is in the morning, which honestly, they did the editing all screwed up. Because if you notice, they have on their sound bath clothes in this scene. And this is supposed to be the last scene, honey, with this dang on blow up doll. And so the witch Towanda is on her horny moon. And she's talking about, I wasn't there, honey, because I'm, you know, I'm with my husband. I'm with my man. And so at that point, they wrap it up saying, you know, we're always going to strive to be sisters or whatever the case may be. And Towanda says, you know, what we're just going to do is push through and with grace. That's what they're going to do. And Tamar says that she is in her non-offensive era. And Trina's like, what does that mean? Does that mean you are not going to offend anyone or get offended? And Tamar says both. I'm not going to offend anyone, nor will I, get offended. And I'm like, yeah, right. You're right. You lead with your emotions. You really do. She is truly that girl who leads with her emotions. We will see how long that lasts, but I feel like she's already broken that since this aired. Like, I feel like she's already had moments on social media and stuff. I mean, hell, even when she was talking to Tony with Birdman right there after that versus, she was over the top with her emotion, but she wasn't offended though. So I don't know, but I feel like she done already went off or did something crazy on social media. But with that being said, the last scene we see, honey, is her walking away with her Towanda blow up doll. And as far as I said, that is the relationship you have. You want to talk to Towanda, talk to that blow up doll. As far as I said, y'all don't need to talk to each other. I think there is so much damage that is done in that situation. I personally don't feel like it's ever going to happen. And as far as I see it, Tamar, if Towanda all of a sudden start talking to you again and she really trying to so-called be into that sister mode, she probably won't your ATM card. Don't trust it. Don't trust it. And because you so emotional and she know that you're so emotional that you really gonna be thinking it's really because of the love and her wanting to be sisters, when really it's probably going to be you bailing her out yet again. Okay, so yeah, that was the freaking finale, episode 7 and 8. They could have kept this season. It didn't make none of them look good, especially the superstar Tony Braxton. Baby, I'm looking at you in a whole different light, honey. You and Towanda got more in common than people want to think. Yeah, you are definitely a little side-eye trifling, in my opinion. And I would say that Tamar, as over the top as she is, I understood Tamar a lot more this season, but they don't need to have any more seasons. They don't. I mean, they don't. And as far as I see it, Tony, for a very long time, was the financial provider for that family. And I'm sure at times she still is. But Tamar is the reason why this show has aired. The reason why this show got picked up. The reason why Towanda and Trina can get the checks that they get from this show is because of Tamar. But it's very interesting that they sit up there and kissed Tony's butt, but not Tamar's butt, for what she's contributed to this family staying financially afloat without using Tony all the time. That's why Tony is always going to make sure she good with Tamar, because Tamar is the other financial backup. She's the financial backup. Financially, Tony can't depend on any of them other siblings, period. So she's never going to sit up there and cross Tamar too much, because Tamar financially is the backup. I wouldn't even be shocked if Tamar actually makes more money than Tony at this point. I wouldn't be shocked. Like, I really wouldn't be shocked. But with that being said, you guys let me know how you felt about these 2 episodes. Let me know how you felt about this season. Do you feel they need to have another season? Be honest. For those who actually want another season, explain to me why you want another season. I think this show is over. I really do. I wouldn't mind seeing, would y'all want a show with just Tamar? Would y'all want a show with just Tamar? I don't know. Like, to see her healing journey, and if she really aired out like a lot of the things that she has going on, like, would y'all want to see that? I don't want to see all of them together anymore. Like, I really don't. I really don't. And I definitely don't want to see Towanda. Baby, kudos to production for finally showing Towanda up front for who she is. Baby, she showed her entire witch behind literally this season. And when she thought the cameras weren't rolling, I don't know if she thought when she was going crazy about that parking spot, if the cameras was on her. But let me tell you something. Towanda really showed who she is. She really did. That evil venom. She really showed herself. But yeah, you guys, let me know what you think about this season. Let me know what you think about these episodes. Thank you so much for listening, and please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on my next video. Toodles.